Kristi Fickert here with 30 Lines. I am the Vice President of Marketing and Training, and this is the third installment of our Flip Your Budget mini-series that we put together. I know you are working really hard to put the finishing touches on your 2019 budgets, and with that, we want to share with you some quick tips and tools and strategies that you can apply to your marketing that will help you do more with less as you move into 2019. Today, we're going to talk really about how to accelerate conversions throughout the buying process with your customer. But before we dive into that, let me give you a quick review on the multifamily marketing funnel, just to bring you up to speed. We addressed this in a few of the other episodes, but I want to be sure that you understand where we are in the funnel today as we move forward and talk about accelerating conversions and what you can do as you move into 2019 to make sure that you are capturing every lead possible and converting as many of them as possible without spending a lot of additional money on your budget. Let's dig in. This is our multifamily conversion funnel. It's essentially mapping out your customer's journey from start to finish. So at the top, we call this the look, learn, lease, and love funnel. That's how we label this. It's a really easy way to remember what is going on with your customers and exactly where they are in the apartment shopping process. So at the very first phase, we call this look. This is when your customer is doing a very broad or very general search for their apartment. They are probably typing something into the Google search bar that says apartments in Atlanta or apartments in downtown Atlanta. They are not yet searching for your community by name. This phase is where, as marketers, our goal is to create awareness. We just want your community to show up on the radar and to become an option for them as they start narrowing down those options. Phase 2 is the learn phase. This is when the customer has created a short list of options. They have you on a list, they probably have a few of your competitors on the list, and here they're going to start doing more research. They're going to start learning about those 3 to 5 communities who initially met their expectations, and they're going to dig in a little deeper. So our job here as marketers is to persuade the customer that we are the right option for them. Yes, our community is wonderful. Yes, we have the right amenities that meet your needs. Yes, we have great raving reviews from our current residents. Our job in this phase is to persuade them, because the ultimate goal is to move the customer entirely through the funnel from top all the way down to bottom until they start moving in. We've got to keep funneling them through there. And how we do that is to persuade them. The next phase is what we call lease, and this is when the customer really starts to transact with you, and the marketing goal here is to get them to transact with you in some way. That does not initially mean that they're signing the lease on the dotted line, but rather they may take some other actions that are leading up to them signing that lease. So scheduling a tour, maybe requesting a video tour if they are a remote prospect and they can't get to your site. Those are all transactions, mini transactions that are leading up to the ultimate transaction of signing the lease. And then during the love phase, this is once they've moved in, and our goal as marketers here during this phase is to nurture and love on those current customers and residents, because when they love you and they tell others that they love you, it goes all the way back to the top of the funnel and will help you convert more leads and accelerate those leads as they come through the funnel. Let's dig in. Today, we want to focus on the learn phase of that look, learn, lease, love framework, okay? So learn is the second phase of that funnel. So people have now found you, you're on their radar, but we have some work to do because we really need to convince them before your competitors do that you are the right option for them. So we want to focus on accelerating conversions. Conversion means you are in some way, shape, or form continuing to move that prospect through the funnel. Remember, we want them to get to the very bottom so that we can then love on them and nurture them. So how can you accelerate leads without breaking your budget? We know that every year you are always asked to do more with less when you're writing those budgets. And I'm sure that 2019 will be no different for any of you. So I want to talk through with you some really inexpensive things that you can do to convert those leads, but not create additional work for your leasing teams. I have been in the multifamily industry for 20 years, and I know that our leasing teams are already overworked and overburdened, really. They have a lot of responsibilities. One of the easiest things that you can do is add what we call this a lease magnet, but this is a pop-up, and you can put this on your website. So this is an example of a pop-up, and it functions in a couple of different ways. Number one, we do not want this to be intrusive, and we don't want it to create friction for your customer. But we also know from working with websites and studying customer behavior that a lot of customers come to your website during their initial search. So when they are during that look phase and they're just starting to determine who the options are in the market for a new apartment, we know that they aren't ready yet to set a tour. So they're probably going to come to your website, they're going to browse around a little bit, probably look at your photos, they might check your pricing and availability, but most likely they will click out and leave, and then they're going to do the same thing with some of your competitors. After they've done their research and some homework, they've dug into reviews, they will probably come back to your site. If you've done a good job of persuading them that you're the right option, they'll probably then come back to your site and complete an online guest card so your team then has a way to follow up with them. But what we want to do is we want to capture and convert them much, much earlier in the process to get some messaging in front of them and to automate some of that. Again, we don't want to create any more work for your leasing teams. So what a pop-up does is it can give you some really good marketing messaging that's front and center to those prospects. We want them to know what you have going on, even if it is not a special or a concession. You do not have to offer a special or a concession to have a great marketing message on your website. If you have the highest ratings out of all of your competitors, that message can be front and center. That's a very important message at this phase of the process. Again, our job as marketers during this learn phase is to convince and persuade the prospects to stay in your funnel. We don't want them going out to the competitors. We want them to stay interested and top of mind for you and with you. But this can have a really unique marketing message attached to it. The other thing that it should do is it's really, really easy for prospects to submit their information. It only asks for their email address. If you look at the guest card on your website, it probably has a lot of fields of information that they have to fill out. And when they are very early on in that process, they're not ready to do that yet. But they may submit just an email address. That's very quick for them to do, and it does not inhibit their search. So what you're doing is you're getting them to opt in earlier, and in the next segment, I'll talk through how you can get some messaging in front of them and how you can automate that. But when people fill out this pop-up, that way you are capturing the ones who aren't getting all the way to your guest card. We see on average that websites that have a pop-up on the website, they average about 40 more leads per month than if you don't have this tool. These are really inexpensive. It's easy to build this into your budget and move some marketing monies around. If you're not using this strategy, I would absolutely recommend it. And 40 more leads per month, who couldn't use that, right? I'll talk through what we're going to do with these leads when they enter their information into the form next. So one of the things that you can do after someone opts in through the pop-up on your website is you can use that to build a really effective email and prospect list. You want to have a way to talk to those people, to convince them that you're the right option, to stay top of mind, but yet we don't want to put more work on the leasing team or blow your budget, right? So email is a great way to do that. It's automated. And this is an example of a 6-part, what we call a drip series. So if someone completes that pop-up on the website, their name is automatically added to an email audience or an email list. And then a series of messages go out to that prospect, and it's timed. You can change the settings on how often those emails go out, or based on whatever you want that cadence to be. But the whole idea behind it is that you are staying in touch with those customers and you are nurturing those leads more than what your leasing teams really essentially can probably do with them. We know, and research shows, that most customers require 7 to 8 different touch points before they are willing to buy or to rent from you. Most leasing consultants stop at about the 3rd piece of follow-up. What this is doing is it is, one, getting customers into your funnel earlier in the process before your competitors have a chance to start wowing them. And then it's staying in touch with them for you. It is not meant to take the place of the personal relationships that your leasing teams will build with these folks, but it is giving your leasing team a head start on nurturing that customer and convincing them again that you are the right option. This particular email highlights the neighborhood around the community. We know that people rent based on a lot of different factors, not just on the amenity package that you have or your floor plans and pricing. A lot of other really important things go into that decision-making process. So here we can start to tell that story and highlight some of these things that are really important during that decision-making process. So now you have your pop-up on your website. You are getting people to opt in and to get into your funnel earlier in the process so that you can work to convert them. And then you can run some automated email campaigns. Again, we know that people need more touch points than what our leasing teams can provide. But the other thing that you can do, if you are collecting that prospect's email address up front and very early on, is you really should look at moving some of your ad money around so that you can do some retargeting and remarketing if you aren't doing that already. If you have an email address of your prospect, you can make sure that your ads, whether on the Google platform or on a social media platform such as Facebook, you can make sure that your ads are showing up to those warm leads. Those people are already super close to converting. So why not give them a little nudge? Remarketing is very inexpensive, and you can also do that with a pixel. Facebook has a pixel that you can install on your website. It is free to grab that and install that, and that will also help you make sure that the ads that you are paying for and are running are showing up to people who are very likely to convert. So make sure that you're building in that retargeting and remarketing into your budget that you already have. It's just reallocating the money. The last thing I want to touch on today is a branded search. Once people are through that very first phase of the funnel and they're into the second phase, that learn phase that we're talking through today, they will probably narrow down their options, and then they're going to go back to Google and do what we call a branded search. So I've typed in the name of a property here on Google. This is Radius at the Banks. It's a community in downtown Cincinnati, because now they're on my short list. I think I might want to live in this community. So now I'm going to go and search them by name and see what I can learn about them to determine if I really should take the tour, or yes, in fact, I should give them my application and deposit and move in. This is what happens when you do a branded search. Most of you know this. You've probably done a branded search for your own communities, but front and center here are ratings and reviews. Google knows that ratings and reviews are very important in a customer's decision-making process, so they put them front and center. If your reviews aren't great, this is the first thing that prospects are seeing when they do a branded search for your community in this second phase of the funnel. If those reviews aren't good, they are not going to be very likely to move down into the next phase of the funnel, which gets them to transact with you. The other thing to focus on here are your photos. Photos and images and videos are so very important. People want to see where they could be living. They want to be able to picture themselves there. It does not cost money to invest in photography. So if you don't have a budget to hire a professional photographer, the iPhone that is in your hand today is probably just as good of quality. Don't be afraid to use that to get some better images and to showcase that lifestyle at your property and what those people experience when they live there. This all matters, and it really will help your bottom line. Thank you so much for joining us for our Flip Your Budget series. We hope that we have found some ways to help you save more in 2019. I know you are working very diligently to finish up those budgets, and let's review really quickly the things that you can do and research to be sure that you are on track with that budget that you're about to finalize. Number one, what is your current conversion rate? Look at the number of people who are visiting your website in any given day, and how many of those people, or what percentage of those people, are actually completing an online guest card so that their information gets through to your leasing team so that they can then work the lead. Do you need to add some additional tools to your site to help convert people earlier in the process and accelerate those conversions? You probably do. And again, we see an average of 40 more leads per month when you have some early capture tools in place. So check those numbers and see if that's something you might need for 2019. It's extremely inexpensive and it's worth every lead that you do get. Look at automated messaging. We know that people need more touch points in order to convince them that you are the right option. Can you give your team this tool? Can you give your team a little boost so that they can continue to work those people and move them further down the leasing funnel? Remember, we want people to start at the top. They start there, but we need them to get all the way through to the bottom. So make sure that you have some automated touch points budgeted in there along the way. Before you ever buy more advertising, start automating with some conversion tools. And then you want to make sure that you're remarketing. Look at your current advertising budget. Do you have any monies currently advocated for the remarketing or retargeting of those warm leads? If you don't, see if you can move a little bit of that money around. Retargeting is very inexpensive, but see if you can move some of those monies around to make sure that you are allocating for that in 2019. And lastly, look at online reviews and your photos. Those online reviews are front and center. So what is your current review and star rating? What does that look like on your Google page and on your Facebook page and on all of the different online forums that host online ratings and reviews? What is your current benchmark for that? And then where do you want to be and where do you need to be? And putting a plan in place to attack that going into 2019. They're front and center. People are absolutely paying attention to those. So let's look at that and get that to be better. Your photos, if you can't invest in or budget for professional photography, don't forget that you have some great tools right in your hand with your phone. The video quality today is so great. It's something that shouldn't hold you back, and make sure that you're putting those great photos and videos online. And there's always a takeaway from our budget series. So thanks for sticking with us today through this. We are actually offering a free pop-up for your website if you'd like to give that a try before you get into the new year. And we'll give that to you free for the rest of this year if you want to try that. I know a lot of you are getting into the slower leasing season, so we'll drop a link here where you can sign up to get that, and we'll let you try it free. Of course, there aren't ever any strings attached with anything that we offer. We just want to help you be a smarter marketer. Our last series in the Flip Your Budget series is coming soon. Make sure you watch for that to hit too.